Okay, before the video starts, I just want to let you guys know that this is a limited time thing. I'm probably not going to do this ever again. But if you guys want me to, please, let's get this video to 25 views and 5 likes, and then I'll post a part 2. If not, then I'll just quit the thing. So, yeah, it's up to you if you guys want me to continue it. If you don't like it, this style of video, then I don't have to do it again. Just tell me down below if you don't want it, and then, yeah, it's basically it. But, yeah, the channel that did the scare videos is called Warzone Entertainment, so I'm not gonna put no sponsors in this video because all rights belong to them. So go check them out. It's called Warzone Entertainment on YouTube. So yeah, go check them out. Please like, subscribe, share. Shout out to Warzone Entertainment. This video could not be possible without them. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and peace.
A coworker told me this unforgettable story about his time in high school. I'm going to write this from his perspective. Central High School in Springfield, Missouri is haunted. I know what you're thinking. Every kid says their school is haunted. But my story is different. I saw it. Central was actually the first high school in Springfield. The original brick building with its tower still stands, but has now expanded with many new wings. We'd all heard the stories about the steam tunnels that connected the buildings and the supposed hangings, but far more compelling was the story of the deadly principal who would whip troublesome students to death. That would have happened long ago when Springfield was a small town and not the Queen City of the Ozarks. We had heard the rumors, the stories that were likely exaggerated, but being high schoolers, we knew we had to do one thing: be at the school late at night. I was the one who came up with the idea that we needed to join the drama class. They were preparing a performance of South Pacific, and as I explained to my group of friends, the way to get in would be to join the class as stagehands, stay to clean up after the performance, and then just stay. And that was what we did. Well, only a couple of us actually got onto the crew. But after everyone else had left, letting the others in was simple. We split up into 3 pairs, myself and Sarah, Rich and Paul, and Michelle and Dan. We didn't have flashlights, and this was before we had cell phones, but the moonlight from the windows and the familiarity of the halls allowed us to get around the school very easily. After about an hour, we began to think perhaps the stories were just stories. We began to make our way to the gymnasium. We started to compare experiences, but everyone said the same thing. They hadn't seen anything, nor heard anything strange. And that's when a chair flew across the gym and slammed into the wall. What the heck? I gasped before I saw something else. Swarms of glittering little things crawling across the floor. They were cockroaches. We'd see cockroaches in the gym on occasion, but usually 1 or 2, not hundreds. "Let's get out of here," yelled Michelle, and we hurried to the nearest exit, a stairway leading up to the 2nd floor. It wasn't until we got upstairs that we realized that going upstairs probably wasn't the best course of action, but the cockroaches didn't seem to follow us there. As we stood next to a classroom, catching our breath, we heard loud footsteps down the hall. All of us backed up against the wall, trying to let whatever this was just pass by. As the loud, plodding footsteps came nearer, our tension grew higher. "Oh, screw this," Rich said, and he ran into a classroom, Sarah following quickly after him. The door slammed shut behind them. "Guys!" I called. I almost didn't notice that the footsteps had stopped. Suddenly, we heard them scream and something slammed against the wall. And then something else hit it. They kept on screaming. Paul pulled at the door, but the handle was stuck. Finally, after a few minutes of them screaming and something hitting the wall, it opened. We entered the classroom. All the desks and chairs were knocked over, and some had clearly been hitting the walls. How they'd gone that far was a mystery, as they were pretty heavy. We found Sarah crouched in a corner, crying and babbling incoherently, a puddle of moisture underneath her. Rich, on the other hand, was stumbling toward the window. "Get him!" I called, and Dan ran towards Rich, grabbing him. "Let me go. Just let me jump. Let me die," Rich cried. "Guys, this is enough," I said. "We need to get out of here." Michelle and Paul helped Sarah up, and helping Dan with Rich, we made our way back into the hall. As we stepped into the hallway, all at once, all the doors slammed shut. Then they all opened again and slammed again. "Screw this," Michelle yelled, and she and Paul began hurrying down the stairs, supporting Sarah between them. Dan ran after them, and I pulled Rich after me. The cockroaches downstairs had seemingly dispersed as we made our way to the nearest exit. Pushing at the door, nothing seemed to happen. "Come on, push it!" Michelle yelled, and Paul, Dan, and I struck the door together, forcing it open. We pulled Sarah and Rich outside, and as we made our way to the cars, we heard the door behind us slam shut. Dan helped Rich to his car while Michelle and Paul brought Sarah to the car they'd arrived in. As for me, I ran to my own car. As I was about to climb inside, I happened to look back at the school, looking at the tower. There, in the top room, was a window. And very clearly, I could see the outline of someone looking out the window directly at us as we made our escape. It was then I realized the most horrifying thing of all, that we knew there was something in the high school. It knew we knew, and we had to go back to class.
When I was in elementary school, a prank pretending to be a ghost and making people frightened had caught on through SNS. In my case, I was still young at that time. I also wanted to try that prank, so that evening, I went to the stairway of the apartment's emergency exit, crouched down on the stair, and waited for the people to come in. Just then, I saw a boy coming to the emergency exit. He didn't say anything, but just stared at me. I thought it was a perfect time, so I decided to play a prank on him. "Do you see me?" I was laughing up my sleeve, and then I suddenly saw his chilling grin. "Wow, you see me too?" As soon as he asked me back, I felt like my mind went blank at that moment. The exit was completely dark. Then the sensor lights once blinked. When I looked forward, there was a boy standing in a weird position that people could not even try. He was staring at me with his body facing the exit and his neck turning 180 degrees. I jumped up to the exit in fear. As soon as I turned around before opening the door, I saw his head begin to turn slowly, staring at me with a curious look. And then I could barely get out from there. When I was in high school, I was on my way home after finishing my night study. It was late at night when I finally got home. I was about to turn on the light. Then I saw my mom was staring at me from the front porch. "Mom, why are you standing there? Come out." Speaking naturally, I walked towards the kitchen to drink some water and then found a note on the table. "I'm going to attend a night meeting. Eat your dinner with your brother." What? Then who is she? My heart dropped. I thought I should not stay here anymore. However, I was terrified that it would follow me right away if I tried to run at that moment. So I slowly began to walk across the living room toward the front door. And it was still standing in the same position, but only its eyes kept following my moving. I left the house in my bare feet the moment I arrived at the front door, and then immediately called my older brother, and what he told me was a pure shock. "Did you see that?" Turns out my brother had come home earlier. It is said that the thing on the back porch was standing in the main room when he first came inside, and it was staring at him through the open door. He also said that the whites of its eyes looked abnormally large, and the black part of the eyeball was so small, as if only the pupils were left. My brother and I had to stay up all night in the PC room until Mom finally...
I've been having a nightmare for 10 years. The same guy keeps appearing in my dream, and every day he's coming to me little by little. At first, I think he was apparently standing outside the room, but now he was staring at me, blinking in front of me, and it was just yesterday. I've been getting used to having this nightmare for 10 years, but now I feel like I'm going to die. If I fall asleep tonight, I think he'll come one step closer, and he'll finally kill me. 6 years ago, in the winter, I was arranging my bangs looking at the mirror next to the elevator after class. There was a staircase reflecting in the mirror behind me at that time. After I had my bangs adjusted for a long time, I glanced at the stairs in the mirror and then noticed that there's a white feet at the top of the stairs. Stupid, who the heck is going around with bare foot in this weather? I was wondering who it was, so I looked back and there was no one there. My heart sank and my whole body became stiff at that moment. I thought I was mistaken, so I looked back into the mirror, but those feet were still there. And it even came down a couple of steps more. I got goosebumps, burst into tears, and then ran out of the spot screaming. I never look in the mirror when I'm alone ever since that day. What was that foot? I used to go to the academy by subway. One day I was sitting at the end of the seat by the door, and an old man was sitting right next to me. Then the subway stopped at one station. The moment the door in front of me opened, the guy came in from the side door of me at the same time. The door next to me won't be able to open due to the system, so how could a person come in through there? I still remember this moment vividly. When I glanced slightly to the side, he was wearing a sweatshirt, and I could see that he was just standing there with a blank look. The old man sitting next to me said to me, who was staring blankly at the man, "Kid, you have to pretend not to see that."
Back in 2016, my friend Lachlan and I thought about doing the best prank ever. It's the ghost girl walking through the streets prank. I went to some Halloween store where they sell the white dress that's the perfect fit for Lachlan. Then I got some red paint for fake blood for the white dress and a long wig for covering Lachlan's face. After buying the stuff, I went home to set it up. Lachlan tried on the whole costume, and I thought it was pretty scary. Scary enough to scare my friends, at least. These other two friends are Jesse and Gavin. Now it was time to set the plan into motion. I called the two of them and told them to meet each other in the car, then come pick me up so we could drive around that night, around 10 p.m. They agreed and hung up. It was 8 p.m. at the time. The perfect time, in fact, to take Lachlan in his costume to the scary bridge that no one drives through anymore. It took us about half an hour to get there. I dropped Lachlan off on the scary bridge, telling him, "When you see the light of their car, walk all creepy like a ghost girl. See you when we're done." I drove back to the house and waited until 10. Soon Jesse and Gavin arrived, and I hopped in their car. I asked Jesse, who was driving, "Hey man, can I drive tonight?" He replied, "Sure, why not?" He let me in the driver's seat, and we took off. Now this is where the fun begins. I make my way to the same street where I drove to drop Lachlan off on the scary bridge. But things get weird here. I must have driven about 20 minutes when I saw Lachlan walking on the road. He wasn't on the bridge, but the road. All Jesse and Gavin saw was a creepy, ghost-looking girl walking on the road. They were practically begging me to drive away now. I told them, "Wait, I need to text Lachlan about this." I texted him, "Hey dude, why are you 10 minutes away from the bridge and walking on the road?" A few seconds later, Lachlan texted back. He said, "What do you mean? I'm at the bridge waiting for y'all. Where are you anyway?" My heart sank when I read that. Quickly, I texted back, Wait there, I'm picking you up. We're not doing this anymore. So, Lachlan was 10 minutes away. Who was in this costume? What are the odds that it's another prankster in the same outfit? Jesse and Gavin were still begging me to go back. I told them, we need to go past this prankster. Jesse shouted, "No way!" I ignored him, and I began to drive past whoever was in the same costume. I drove slowly and steadily. When I passed the person, I got a glimpse of their face. I couldn't breathe. What I saw was either the most realistic looking makeup, or that was not a costume. I drove faster now, knowing that I had to pick Lachlan up, but tempted to just drive away. 10 minutes later, I made it to the bridge where Lachlan was waiting. He was just sitting on a rock waiting for me. I honked at him and he came in. Lachlan asked me what was going on. Now everyone needed an answer. I told Lachlan what happened, and I told Jesse and Gavin about the prank we had planned. It was supposed to be a prank for you guys, but it was interrupted. I began to drive back, dreadfully knowing we'd have to pass the same stretch of road where we saw that girl. But 10 minutes later, when we should have been seeing her, she wasn't there. But I wasn't going to ask why. I just wanted to get home safely. 20 minutes after that, we got back home okay. We all talked about what happened. After the conversation, Jesse and Gavin headed home. Lachlan stayed the night, which was probably for the better, because what we saw that night made me lose sleep and terrified me for months.